what happened is the Defense Department started issuing all of these complete blatant lies about Lou Elizondo, that they didn't know who he was. He'd never had any kind of role in the Pentagon. Who is this guy? There's no such program going on in the bank. They just went through like somebody didn't get him the memo, and so the bottom line is Lou ended up contacting me, of all people, to represent him legally, to present a complaint, a formal complaint to the Inspector General of the Defense Department. And so I worked on that with Lou, and we prepared a complaint to the Defense Department that was much more far-reaching than simply complaining about the fact that people were lying about him, but that in fact they were lying to everybody. They were lying to the people. They were lying to Congress, very importantly. And Lou was really upset about this, because he therefore was his credibility was being attacked, so that he couldn't even potentially convince people in Congress that they ought to do something about this. And so we put forth this really complex complaint to the Inspector General, demanding that protocols be set up inside the Defense Department to facilitate people filing these kind of encounters with UFOs. And when we went to see the Inspector General next door to the Pentagon, we go in, and the Inspector General and his couple of guys on his staff were completely prepared to be really hostile and antagonistic. But as soon as Lou started sharing with them the kind of detail that he had and the specific information, all of a sudden, their eyes got, might I say, big as saucers. And anyway, they completely freaked out. And all of a sudden, they started running out of the room and going and getting other people to come into the meeting who had the adequate clearances, in military officers with full uniform and all of their medals, and coming, sitting, kind of leaning forward into the information. And Lou persuaded the Inspector General that this was true and that they were being lied to as well. And so that began this entire kind of new era of disclosure, because the Inspector General was involved in this now. People over on the congressional side started, taking Lou's calls and going over to meet with them. Started out with the Senate Intelligence Committee, which at the time was chaired by Rubio, by Marco Rubio from Florida. And he became convinced by Lou and by Chris Mellon and some other witnesses that were brought to them that this is true. And then we started going over to people on the House side and found people on the House side that were extremely interested in this whole issue. And what we did is we got the House Oversight Committee eventually to bring forward David Grush to testify about and asserted to them not only that it was true that there was this top secret program going on inside the Pentagon, and that Lou was telling the truth and the Defense Department was lying about it, but that in fact we had a full-scale program going on retrieving crashed UFOs. And there was a program designed to try to back engineer the technology from these crashed UFOs. And that there was a program going on trying to utilize this technology to back engineer them to not only create craft that could duplicate what the UFOs were doing, but they were trying to use the technology to develop a secret weapon system, that could deliver nuclear payloads into the heart of Russia or the China, within 2 minutes. So that it was like a first strike weapon that nobody could defend against. Now they didn't testify in public about the latter part of it, but I knew about it, and so I was telling everybody about it. I had never taken any security oath, and Lou had not conveyed that to me, under attorney-client privilege or anything. But I had, because of my representing Lou and knowing all of these other people, I was able to talk to other sources who gave that information to us. And I even knew the aerospace company that was working on it. And so I was telling everybody about it. And that was sort of the advantage in Lou having me as his attorney. I mean, he knew that I had this entire other life, than just being the attorney for Lou Elizondo, and that I had all kinds of people who relied upon me, among others, to tell them what we could find out about this whole program. And so there's been this thing going on now since 2021 of Lou coming forward and giving more information to people in Congress and bringing witnesses to meet with them. My conveying information that I was able to find out to the public as a whole. And this has proved to be pretty satisfactory so far. That we're getting lots of, and Lou testified, just on November 13th, testified in detail about his knowledge about all this, confirming Grush's testimony and others. And so the Congress has now established a special task force. This has been established now by the House Oversight Committee. It's chaired by Congresswoman Luna. And there are all the Republican members have been appointed to this already. And the Democratic people in the House are now in the process of deciding whether to assign people to this. This is not an official subcommittee, which would, in a certain sense, almost require them to appoint Democratic members of it. This is a task force, but it's an official task force. And the chair of the Oversight Committee has asserted that he's willing to issue subpoenas to get involuntary testimony and extract documents from these. This is extraordinarily important. And what we need to do, the New Paradigm Institute that I head up, is dedicated to generating support from the citizenry. Not only support, but demands from the citizenry that the Congress stand up and exercise its constitutional duty to find out about this program and find out what they're doing. There's indications now that this deep element inside the intelligence community and the Defense Department that is being concealed from 95% at least of everybody in the Defense Department and in the intelligence agencies, that they may be engaged in trying to knock down UFOs with some new special electromagnetic pulse weapon, knock them down and capture the occupants and everything. Basically making war on an entire, much more highly sophisticated and better, probably technologically prepared power, behind the scenes, making war against them. And Congress doesn't even know about it. So that's sort of the status where we are right now. That's how I became involved in it. It's kind of the chronology of my involvement in this. And so now that I'm heading up the major citizens organization around the country that is establishing teams in each one of the 435 congressional districts all around the country in all 50 states to just pour the letters and stuff into their congresspeople and senators, and also go to their local newspapers, put letters to the editor in the newspapers, go to their local cable television shows, go on local podcasts, go to their colleges in the nearby area, in the high schools. We've reached the moment in our country now where we have official confirmation, that we are in possession of at least one or more non-human origin extraterrestrial spacecraft and the bodies of the occupants confirmed as non-human. So that the moment is here. People it hasn't quite dawned on everybody, what this is. This is like that moment at the beginning of every great science fiction movie where all of a sudden it's just one step away from the UFO landing in Central Park and Keanu Reeves getting out, and announcing to them, that there's an extraterrestrial civilization here that's coming and going to our planet.